Imagine waking up one morning thinking you have your life perfectly planned, only for your entire world to flip like a table with one quiet sentence. That was exactly how it felt for Keon Adewale, billionaire heir, business strategist, and the last person who believed in anything as unpredictable as love, and yet, there he was, sitting across from his father in a glass-walled office high above the skyline of Lagos, hearing the words that froze the air around him. "You're getting married." No build-up, no warning, no preparation, just that. Keon blinked slowly, convinced he had misheard. His father, Chief Adewale, leaned back with the confidence of a man used to issuing commands. "It's already arranged," he added, as if he were discussing a board meeting and not his son's future. The details followed: a merger between the Adewale Group and a powerful, old money family in Abuja, a partnership designed to secure generations of influence, a marriage to bind it all together, a marriage to a stranger, her name, Liana Daramola, a woman he'd never met, never spoken to, never imagined standing beside. The room felt smaller suddenly, colder. Keon's jaw tightened. "Dad, I'm not signing up for a business contract disguised as marriage," he said, keeping his voice steady, but Chief Adewale simply pushed a folder across the table. "You're not signing up, you're honoring the family legacy." Outside the office window, Lagos moved, chaotic, vibrant, alive. As if mocking how trapped he felt, Keon stared at the file, his future pinned between legal pages. He didn't touch it. Not yet. Meanwhile, across the country, in a quiet garden surrounded by palm trees and sunlight, Liana Daramola sat across from her mother, listening to the same bombshell drop into her life. Her mother spoke with the calmness of someone who had already rehearsed every line. "It's a good match, Liana, respectable, strategic. It will protect our family's reputation and open doors for you." Liana's mouth felt dry. "A marriage?" she repeated, nearly whispering. She had always imagined choosing her partner because of shared dreams, not shared corporate interests. But the Daramola family had weathered storms in recent years, financial waves that quietly shook their foundation. An alliance with the Adewale Empire was more than a union. It was a safety net. Still, the idea of marrying a stranger felt unreal. She wasn't ready, not for this. Not for a life decision built on balance sheets and whispered plans. But saying no wasn't as simple as walking away. Not when family expectations pressed against her like an invisible weight. She exhaled shakily. "When do I meet him?" Their first encounter came 3 days later at a private lounge tucked inside a high-end hotel overlooking the ocean. Luxury surrounded them. Soft lighting, polished marble, expensive stillness. Yet the energy in the room was painfully stiff. Keon arrived first, dressed immaculately in deep navy. But the sharp confidence he carried in boardrooms didn't quite make it past the awkwardness settling around him. He tapped his fingers on the table, rehearsing neutral phrases in his mind. Then she walked in, Liana, gentle, graceful. With a quiet strength in her posture, she wore a simple cream-colored dress and carried herself like someone who had learned to stay calm, even when the world wasn't. Their eyes met. No spark, no instant chemistry. Just two strangers forced into a moment neither asked for. "Hi," she said softly, her voice warm but uncertain. "Hi," he replied, clearing his throat. "I guess this is happening." A small, awkward smile tugged at her lips. "So it seems." They sat down, both trying and failing to hide the tension pressing between them. He studied her, noting the thoughtful way she adjusted her bracelet, the cautious yet observant look in her eyes. She wasn't flashy like the socialites he'd known. She wasn't trying to impress him. She looked real. She studied him too. He was handsome in a sharp, intimidating way. But she noticed something else, the faint exhaustion in his eyes. The kind that comes from freedom slipping through your fingers. They exchanged pleasantries, backgrounds, school, careers, hobbies, all the safe questions parents would approve of. The conversation lacked warmth, but it wasn't unpleasant. It was simply distant. At one point, Liana paused and asked, "Do you want this?" He answered honestly, "Not really, but I don't want to make it harder for you either." His honesty surprised her. In a good way, she nodded. "Me neither, but maybe we can make it manageable." Manageable, not romantic, not exciting, just survivable. They agreed on one thing. Neither of them wanted to be trapped, but they also didn't want to disappoint their families or get swallowed by the media frenzy that would undoubtedly follow. When the meeting ended, they walked out together, side by side yet feeling miles apart. A camera flashed somewhere from a distance, discreet, but noticeable. Their arrangement wasn't private anymore, the world had begun watching. A cold breeze drifted in from the sea as they both stepped outside. For a moment, they looked at each other with a shared sense of resignation. Two people thrown into a story they didn't write. But neither of them knew that this awkward introduction would eventually become the beginning of something neither their families nor the public could ever predict. Something deeper, something real, something that would shake both their worlds in ways far beyond arranged expectations. If you were in their shoes, facing a marriage arranged for family reasons, would you walk away or try to make it work? Hey there, my wonderful family and friends, welcome back. If you're ready to dive into today's story, make sure to hit that subscribe button and tell me in the comments where you're tuning in from. I love seeing where everyone's watching. And guess what? There's another amazing story coming your way tomorrow, one you definitely don't want to miss. Alright then, let's get started. Days turned into a quiet whirlwind after the awkward first meeting. Plans moved fast, families called, lawyers emailed, the internet buzzed. Headlines speculated about a power union, influencers analyzed their compatibility like they were characters in a TV series. And both families pretended everything was perfectly smooth, but inside, both Keon and Liana were fighting their own private storms. To ease the tension, their families insisted they spend more time together. Bonding, they called it. Damage control, Keon muttered under his breath. Still, he showed up. Their first real moment of forced proximity happened during a charity event hosted by the Adawale Foundation. A massive gathering with soft jazz, flowing gowns, and wealthy families mingling like it was a competition. Keon spotted Liana across the room. She looked breathtaking in a deep emerald dress, but more than her beauty, it was the expression on her face that caught his attention. A mix of calmness and discomfort, like she was trying to blend in but not quite succeeding. He walked toward her. "You okay?" She turned, giving him a tiny smile, just trying not to step on any powerful toes. "Trust me," he said lightly. "They deserve it." She laughed, genuinely, and for the first time, he saw a version of her that wasn't shy, wasn't distant. She had warmth, humor, life. They were soon pulled into a group conversation with business elites. At first, Liana stayed quiet, until someone casually tossed an opinion about social welfare that rubbed her the wrong way. She spoke up, confidently, intelligently, challenging their viewpoint, backing her points with grounded logic from her years working in community outreach. Keon watched silently, impressed. When the group moved on, he leaned closer. "You handled that better than most politicians," she chuckled. "I just hate when people talk like real lives are numbers." He nodded slowly, a soft respect forming. "I didn't expect you to have such strong opinions." Her brow arched slightly. "Because of the whole arranged marriage image." He winced. "Fair point. It wasn't romantic. It wasn't magical, but something shifted. A hint of genuine admiration replacing their initial awkwardness." Later that week, they found themselves in a completely different setting. Keon's private office, surrounded by glass walls and ocean blue accents. He had invited her to review some of the charity projects tied to their upcoming engagement announcement, mostly for appearances. Or so he told himself, but when she arrived, carrying a small notebook and wearing casual clothes, something about her presence softened the coldness of the room. They sat together, going through documents, and Liana leaned closer to examine a proposal. He noticed the way she tucked her hair behind her ear when concentrating, the gentle rhythm she tapped on the table when thinking deeply. Then came the moment he didn't expect. She found a mistake. Something small, but significant, in one of the project budgets. A detail even he had missed. "You caught that?" he asked. She nodded, almost shy. Numbers don't lie. People do. He burst into laughter. You're full of surprises. She smiled. Not the polite one she gave at their first meeting. A real one, a smile that softened the space between them. And that was when he realized something else. He enjoyed her company more than he expected. Soon after, they spent a morning at a small, quiet cafe in Victoria Island, a place she liked for its simplicity. No paparazzi, no high-profile guests, just warm air, soft chatter, and the smell of fresh pastries. Why this place? He asked, stirring his tea. I come here whenever I feel overwhelmed, she admitted. It reminds me that life can still be simple. He looked around, noticing how peaceful she seemed here. I haven't had simple in a long time, she smiled gently. You can, if you choose to. He didn't know why her words hit so deeply. Maybe because no one had ever said something like that to him without expecting anything in return. As they talked, they discovered their first real common ground. Music. She liked old-school African love songs. Asa, Bez, Simi, Brimo. He liked instrumental jazz, opposites, yet connected by the same desire for emotional honesty. What's your go-to Asa song? He asked. Be My Man, she said without hesitation. Soft but bold. He nodded. Mine's Babank. She gave him a teasing look. So you're secretly a soft guy. He almost choked on his drink. Absolutely not. You just told me your favorite heartbreak song. Okay. Maybe a little. They both laughed, and for a moment, the arrangement didn't feel like a burden. It felt like two humans simply getting to know each other. A few days later, everything changed again. Quietly, subtly, but unmistakably, it happened when they were reviewing engagement plans at the Adewale family mansion. A staff member accidentally dropped a tray of glasses. Sharp fragments scattered across the marble floor, without thinking. Keon grabbed Liana's arm and pulled her back before she stepped on the glass. It was instinctive, protective, natural. Their eyes locked. She blinked, surprised. You didn't have to. I know. He cut in softly. But I wanted to. She looked at him differently then. Like she was seeing a side of him not reflected in business headlines or polished photos. He released her hand slowly, realizing only then how tightly he had held her. A quiet beat lingered in the air. And for the first time, the idea of them, together, didn't feel impossible. It felt strangely human, to strangers, learning each other's unspoken corners. Two hearts neither expecting nor seeking connection, yet somehow drifting toward it. Do you think small acts of kindness can change how someone sees you, even more than grand gestures? For the first time since the announcement, the storm around their arranged union began to shift. Not because the media calmed down, no, those ones were still everywhere, analyzing outfits and tracking expressions. The real shift happened quietly, in the small spaces only they could see. It began on a Friday morning when everything went wrong, and somehow made everything right. They had agreed to attend a joint press briefing, a simple one. Just a few words about their upcoming engagement to settle rumors. But when Kian's car pulled up to the event, the press was already swarming like bees around spilled honey. Cameras flashed wildly. Microphones shot forward, voices overlapped. Are you actually in love? Is this just business? Why her? Why him? Security pushed them back, but the noise was overwhelming. Kian stepped out first, tall and composed, but internally irritated. Liana followed with a calm expression. Though her fingers trembled slightly, he noticed. The shouting grew intense as someone yelled a question that crossed a line. Harsh, invasive, unnecessary. Liana paused. Taken aback, Kian's jaw tightened without breaking stride. He placed his hand gently but firmly on the small of her back, leaning close enough for only her to hear. Just walk with me. I've got you. It wasn't for the cameras. It wasn't for show. His tone was low, warm, reassuring. She steadied instantly, and in that crowded, chaotic moment, they moved as one. A united front against the world's noise. The crowd noticed. Their body language shifted something in the narrative. For the first time, they didn't look like strangers trapped together. They looked like partners inside the hall. After the press left them alone, she turned to him with soft gratitude. "You didn't have to protect me like that. I wasn't protecting you from them," he said. "I was protecting you from feeling alone." Her breath caught a little. Because for a man who wore emotional armor like a three-piece suit, that was unexpectedly sincere. That moment planted something between them. Small, quiet, but real. Later that week, they met for a planning session and ended up talking about dreams instead of logistics. It started with a simple question he asked without thinking. "What do you actually want from life, Liana? Outside all this noise?" She blinked, surprised at the depth of the question. "Honestly, I want a life that feels like mine. I want to build something meaningful. I want peace." He nodded slowly, absorbing her words. "That sounds nice. What about you?" She asked gently. He hesitated. He had money, influence, comfort, everything people believed should complete a man. But no one ever asked what he genuinely wanted. "I want freedom," he said finally. "Not from responsibility, but from expectations. I want to be seen as more than an heir." She tilted her head slightly, studying him with soft eyes. "I see you that way already." The room grew quiet. Not awkward quiet, meaningful quiet, because in that moment, they realized something neither had expected. Their values were not only compatible, they aligned. They both carried the weight of family legacy. They both wanted authenticity. They both longed for a life shaped by choice, not pressure. A small connection sparked, delicate yet sincere. A few days later came the moment that changed everything. The moment that showed Keon exactly who Liana truly was. They had attended a high-profile luncheon where powerful guests mingled and traded polite smiles like currency. Everything went fine until a young volunteer accidentally spilled a drink on one of the event sponsors, a woman known for her sharp tongue. The sponsor began scolding the volunteer loudly, humiliating her in front of everyone. People turned away. Some whispered. No one intervened, except Liana. Without hesitation, she stepped forward. "Ma, it was an accident," she said calmly, placing a gentle hand on the volunteer's shoulder. "Please don't embarrass her." The sponsor's eyes widened. "Do you know who you're talking to?" "Yes," Liana replied, "and I know she doesn't deserve to be spoken to like that." Her voice didn't shake. Her posture didn't falter. She stood there, unwavering. The sponsor huffed and stormed away. The volunteer, nearly in tears, whispered, "Thank you." Liana smiled at her. "It's okay. Mistakes happen." From across the room, Keon watched everything. The courage, the kindness, the unfiltered compassion. He felt something shift. Unexpectedly and deeply. Not admiration. Not obligation. Not duty. Respect. Real, bone-deep respect. The kind that blooms only when you witness the truth of someone's character. Later, when they stepped aside, he spoke with quiet awe. "Most people wouldn't have done that. Most people shouldn't be proud of that," she responded. "You're something else." She smiled shyly. "You say that like it's a bad thing." "It's not," he said softly. "It's the best thing." The aha moment came unexpectedly the next day, a twist neither of them anticipated. Keon overheard his father questioning Liana's capability to handle public life. The tone was curt, dismissive, the kind that grated on every nerve Keon had. Before he realized it, he stepped between them, defending her with a firmness that shocked even himself. "She's more than capable," he said, "and she's the best thing that's happened to this arrangement." His father looked at him, surprised. "Since when do you care?" Keon didn't have an answer, because the truth hit him right there. Somewhere along the pressure, proximity, and conversations, he did care. More than he should, more than he planned, more than he wanted to admit. Afterward, Liana thanked him quietly. "You didn't need to defend me." "Yes," he said, meeting her gaze. "I did." And that was when it clicked for both of them. Connection had taken root. Not fireworks, not explosions, not dramatic declarations, just a steady, growing warmth that filled the spaces between them. It wasn't love, not yet, but it was something dangerously close, something neither of their families saw coming, Something real. Do you think respect comes before love? Or does love create respect? Something changed after that day. Not loudly, not dramatically, but unmistakably. It was in the way they looked at each other a second too long. In the way conversations lingered even after the topic ended. In the way silence between them no longer felt like a gap, but a bridge. Their arrangement was supposed to be a contract. Instead, it was becoming something dangerously warm. One evening, they met at a quiet rooftop lounge in Ikoyi, a hidden place Keon retreated to when he needed air. Lagos glowed below them, humming with the heartbeat of a city that never really slept. Palm trees swayed gently, warm lights reflected off glass tables. He had invited her there without really thinking. She accepted without asking why. When she arrived, wearing a soft peach dress and a faint, calm smile, something inside him softened. "You brought me to your secret hideaway," she teased lightly. He shrugged, looking almost embarrassed. "It felt like somewhere you'd like." She walked to the edge of the rooftop and breathed in the night air. "You were right." They settled into conversation easily. Almost too easily. They talked about childhood memories, family quirks, embarrassing moments. She admitted she once tried to run away from home at age 9 and only made it as far as the neighbor's compound. He confessed he used to climb the roof as a kid just to feel above expectations. She laughed in a way that made the night feel warmer. He listened in a way that made her feel seen. Soon, the conversation slowed. But the closeness didn't. She glanced at him, noticing how the city lights softened the angles of his face. "You're different when you're not around your father," she said gently. "A good different or a scary different?" he asked. She smiled. "A real different." He swallowed hard, unexpectedly touched, and then came the first undeniable spark. A breeze blew, lifting a strand of hair across her face without thinking. He reached forward and tucked it behind her ear. His fingers brushed her skin. Warm, soft, electric. She froze. He froze. Their eyes locked. Time didn't stop, but it definitely slowed down. It wasn't a kiss, but it was everything before a kiss. Something tightened in his chest, a feeling he had never allowed himself to notice before. Something fluttered in her breath, a feeling she wasn't prepared to confront. She stepped back gently, grounding herself. "We should probably," he nodded quickly. "Yeah, we should," but the atmosphere stayed charged, humming with new energy neither could pretend not to feel. A few days later came a moment that hit deeper. A moment that confirmed everything they tried to deny. They were preparing for a joint interview, the biggest one yet, meant to prove to the world that their story wasn't shaky. Liana looked elegant, but he could sense the nerves just under her calm exterior. He stepped close and said quietly, "I'll be right beside you the whole time." She looked up at him, her eyes softening. "That helps more than you know." During the interview, the host asked a direct, heavy question. "What's the one thing you've discovered about each other that surprised you?" Keon opened his mouth to speak, but before he could, Liana answered, "His kindness," she said, surprising both the host and Keon himself. "People see his position, his influence, but there's a gentleness he doesn't show the world." "I didn't expect that." Keon blinked, caught off guard. Her voice wasn't flattering him. It was honest, almost tender. When it was his turn, he didn't overthink. "Her courage," he said. "She stands up for what's right, even when she's the only one in the room doing it. That kind of strength is rare." The room fell quiet. Not awkward, not forced, just a warmth that made everything else fade. And the audience felt it too. Both in the room and online, clips circulated. Blogs titled it the moment the arrangement stopped feeling arranged. Neither of them denied it, because it was true. That night, after the interview, she walked him to his car. The moon cast soft silver across her face, making her look more dreamlike than real. "Thank you for what you said today," she whispered. He shook his head. "I only said the truth." For a moment, they simply stood there, staring at each other with a growing awareness neither could escape. Then came a subtle, emotional, but powerful turn. Liana received a message. Her phone vibrated. She checked it. Her expression changed, slowly, quietly, from calm to stiff. "What is it?" he asked. She hesitated, then finally said it. My mother wants to renegotiate parts of the arrangement. She wants more control over our future decisions. More than we ever discussed. He frowned. Control over what? Where we live, how we handle public influence, even when we start a family. A family? His voice sharpened. Why is she involving herself in that? Liana looked away, guilt darkening her eyes. It's about their image. They want everything to look perfect from the outside. It wasn't the demand that hurt him. It was what he saw on her face. Fear, pressure, a childhood wound resurfacing. Liana, he said softly. You're not a bargaining chip. She swallowed hard. Sometimes I feel like I am. He stepped closer, lowering his voice. Not with me. She blinked, and hairs formed but didn't fall. I don't want this to become something that traps us. It won't, he said firmly. Not if we choose each other instead of letting everyone else choose for us. Her breath trembled, and for the first time, something in her chest broke open. Trust, fragile but real. He wasn't just supporting her, he was fighting with her. The spark between them deepened, tugging them closer. Not physically, emotionally. She whispered, Kian, I don't know what's happening to us. He exhaled. I think we're both pretending it's not real. Silence again. Soft, loaded, full of everything unsaid. Then she said the truth neither planned to voice. I'm scared. Because I think I'm starting to care. He stared at her, stunned, because he had felt the same thing growing inside him. And there, under the night sky, with pressure closing in from all sides, they finally stopped running from the truth. Something real was blooming. Not convenience, not obligation, not arrangement. Something that felt suspiciously like love. Do you think emotional support is the first sign that two people are meant for each other? Even with feelings blooming between them, life didn't suddenly turn into soft music and sunsets. Real life had edges. Real life demanded choices. And real life was waiting to test everything they were becoming. The engagement ceremony was only a week away. Invitations had gone out. Stylists were booked. Family expectations were stacked like skyscrapers. Yet beneath all the celebration and sparkle, Kian and Liana were quietly navigating the shift from arranged partners to something more fragile and real, and neither of them knew what the future was supposed to look like anymore. The pressure hit them again one afternoon while going through final event plans in a serene garden behind the Adewale family estate. The place was beautiful, palm trees swaying, garden lights hanging above polished walkways, soft sunlight warming the air. But both of them were too distracted to admire it. We're supposed to make a public statement at the engagement, Liana said softly, reading through the schedule on her tablet. Your father wants us to talk about our shared vision for the nation's future. Kian sighed. He wants us to sound like a political manifesto. Exactly. They shared a look. Tired, knowing, gentle. Do you ever feel, she began slowly, like everyone is building a version of us we don't recognize? All the time, he replied. She lowered the tablet, her expression thoughtful. What do you want the future to look like, Kian? Honestly, not for the cameras, not for the families. For us. He looked at her for a long moment. I want us to build something that feels like ours, whatever that means, even if it's small. Even if it's different from what everyone expects. Her breath softened. Me too. It was the first time they spoke of a future as we, not as an arrangement, and the moment felt like a quiet promise. But the peace didn't last. That evening, Kian received a confidential message from an old family friend. Someone connected, someone who preferred silence to scandal. The message said one thing. Be careful. Someone is working against your arrangement. He stared at the words, confusion turning into a slow, cold unease. Who would want to sabotage them now? He didn't mention it to Liana, not yet. Not until he understood more. But the storm arrived sooner than he expected. The next day, news broke online. A sudden wave of articles, gossip posts, and viral comments claiming sources reveal Kian and Liana's engagement is fake. Insider spills, billionaire heir forced into marriage. New allegations say the bride is after the Adewale fortune. The internet exploded within hours. People debated, comment sections burned. Hashtags trended. Liana's phone buzzed nonstop. Messages, missed calls, headlines. She sat in her living room, staring at her screen as the noise grew louder inside her head. Keon arrived minutes later, breathless from rushing over. The moment he saw her, something clenched in his chest. "Liana," he said gently, "don't read any more of that." Her voice trembled. "They're tearing me apart, Keon. They're calling me a fraud, a gold chaser, someone using you." His jaw tightened with anger. He had never felt so personally before. "None of that is true. You know that," she whispered, "but they don't. They don't even want to." She looked so small in that moment, so wounded, and it hurt him more than he expected. He sat beside her. "Listen to me, you're not alone in this. I'm right here." Her eyes shimmered with quiet frustration. "But your reputation is at stake too." "I don't care about that," he said, voice steady and low. "I care about you." She looked at him, really looked, and something in her expression softened, melted, opened, but before anything more could be said, his phone rang. His father. Keon stepped aside to answer. "Hello? Have you seen the mess online?" Chief Abdul's voice thundered. "This girl's presence is becoming a liability." "Stop," Keon said sharply. "You will not speak about her like that." There was silence. Heavy, shocked, Chief Adewale lowered his tone. "You're letting emotions cloud your judgment." "Maybe I finally have judgment," Keon replied coldly. He ended the call. When he returned to Liana, he found her staring at him, hard in her eyes. "You defended me," she whispered. "Of course," he replied. "I always will." And in that moment, she believed him. But then came the one that changed everything. A journalist released screenshots claiming to prove Liana had planned the engagement for financial gain. The screenshots were fake, edited, manipulated, but they spread like wildfire. Liana froze when she saw them. Her breath hitched, her world tilted. Who would make something like this? She whispered, voice shaking. Keon grabbed the phone, fury rising. "Someone wants to break us apart." "Why?" She barely choked out. He looked at her, and the truth hit him with chilling clarity. "It's someone close," he said quietly. "Someone who doesn't want this marriage to succeed." Her eyes widened. "You think it's from your side, or mine?" "I don't know," he admitted. "But I'll find out." She hugged herself, shaken. "Keon, this is too much. I don't want to be the reason your life becomes chaos. You're not the reason," he said, stepping closer. "They are. But if this continues," she whispered, "they'll destroy us." He lifted her chin gently. "Only if we let them." She stared at him, breath trembling, and whispered the fears she hadn't dared speak aloud. "What if we're becoming too real for them?" He exhaled deeply. "Then we'll stand together." They wanted an arrangement, but they didn't expect connection. "And now?" she asked softly. "And now they're panicking," he said, "because they can't control something that's genuine." For a moment, silence wrapped around them. Soft, charged, fragile. Then she leaned into him, resting her forehead against his chest. He didn't hesitate. He held her, firm, protective, certain. It wasn't romantic. It wasn't planned. It wasn't gentle. It was real. Two hearts in the middle of a storm, choosing each other anyway. Later that night, as he drove home, Keon whispered to himself, "This was supposed to be an arrangement. So how did it turn into something I'm willing to fight for?" He didn't know the answer, but he knew he wasn't letting her go. No matter who was trying to tear them apart, if people around you tried to sabotage your relationship, would you fight for it, or walk away for your peace? When morning light crept into the penthouse, it felt different, soft, warm, like the sun itself had decided to bless their new beginning. The world outside rushed on with its endless noise, but inside those glass walls, it was quiet, peaceful, hopeful. Adana woke first, stretching gently, her eyes settling on Adewale sitting by the window, reading something on his tablet. His posture was calm, but his expression, focused, serious, told her something important was on his mind. She approached slowly, Everything okay?" He looked up at her. For the first time since she had known him, he looked almost nervous. "Better than okay," he said. "I've been doing some thinking." He handed her the tablet. On the screen was the one thing she never expected. A draft termination document, the original marriage contract, the initial terms, everything that had forced them into an arrangement in the first place. Voided. Her heart dropped. He watched her carefully. "I don't ever want you to feel trapped. Not now. Not after everything we've built. If you stay, I want it to be your choice." Adana's breath shook. The weight of those words, the freedom she never expected, the sincerity she could feel down to her bones, it overwhelmed her. She looked at him, really looked at him. Here was the man who once hid behind silence and duty, the man who once guarded his heart like a vault, now standing before her, offering the one thing he never gave anyone: control, honesty, vulnerability. And her response came from a place deeper than logic, deeper than fear, deeper than anything the contract ever demanded. "I'm not going anywhere," she whispered. He exhaled, relief washing over him so visibly she almost laughed. "You're sure?" She moved closer, taking his face in both hands. "I'm choosing you. Not the deal, not the contract. You." And just like that, the last invisible wall between them finally collapsed. Later that week, they decided to do something the world never expected: go public. Not with a press conference, not with a post photo in matching outfits, but with something far more real: a documentary-style clip, short, simple, beautifully shot, where they spoke openly about learning each other, failing each other, forgiving each other, and choosing each other. No scripts, no PR polish, just two people telling the truth. It broke the internet. People who once mocked the marriage suddenly started rooting for it. Others said it felt like watching two guarded souls slowly discover home in each other. And some, especially Nigerians in the diaspora, said it reminded them that love doesn't always start with fireworks. Sometimes it starts with confusion, frustration, even arrangement. But what mattered most wasn't the comments, or the trending hashtags, or the brand deals suddenly pouring in. It was how they showed up for each other when the cameras were off, like the way Adana sat with him through late-night meetings, her head resting on his shoulder, or the way he never missed her Sunday morning gallery visits, even when he barely slept the night before, or how they built little rituals, shared meals, rooftop walks, handwritten notes, things that had nothing to do with wealth, legacy, or expectation, just them, growing, choosing, loving. Then came the twist: neither of them succumbing. Damelaire's mother, the same woman who pushed for the marriage, asked to meet Adana privately. The moment Adana entered the room, Mama stood up and bowed her head slightly. "I owe you an apology," Adana's heart stilled, "for forcing you into something you didn't ask for. I did it because I was afraid my son would bury himself in work, isolated and cold. But watching you to now, I see I should have trusted him, and I should have trusted you." Adana felt tears sting her eyes, not from pain, but from relief, from finally being seen, from finally understanding the full picture. Mama stepped closer. "You brought my son back to life. Thank you." It was the kind of moment that didn't just close an old chapter, it healed it. Weeks later, on a quiet evening, Damelaire took Adana to the same garden where they had once argued over duty and freedom. "Since we've rewritten our story," he said, "I think it's time we rewrote something else." He reached into his pocket, not a diamond so big it screamed billionaire, not something flashy or loud, just a ring with a small, beautifully cut stone and an engraving inside. Chosen, not arranged. Her hand flew to her mouth. "Adana, will you marry me? For real this time, as my partner, my equal, my heart." She didn't cry, she didn't panic, she didn't hesitate. She simply smiled, the kind of smile that felt like sunrise. Yes, when he slipped the ring on her finger, they both felt it, the quiet, unshakable truth. They weren't just rewriting a contract. They were rewriting destiny. And as the night breeze swept through the garden, carrying soft echoes of laughter and new beginnings, the narrator, somewhere beyond the scene, would leave the audience with this final thought: love doesn't always knock politely. Sometimes it barges in through the least romantic doorway. But when it's real, when it's chosen, when it's nurtured, it becomes the kind of love that rewrites every rule. If you were in their shoes, would you take the risk of choosing love in an unexpected arrangement? Or would you pull away before feelings got too real? Tell me, what would your heart do?
Thank you for watching all the way through. If this story moved you, the next one will surprise you in ways you won't expect. Go ahead and click the video on your screen. Your next story awaits.